I am Jose Varela from the Economic and Commercial Office of Spain, Embassy of Spain here in Manila, and the ADB Liaison Officer. Welcome to this seminar, Energy for All, European Models of Inclusive Access. I want to start thanking the Constituency Office for their support in organizing this particular activity, also to the ASEF organizers that they have also participated with their trust on having this small seminar this afternoon. I also want to thank the companies that are going to be providing their models that we have thought that are useful for the Asian Clean Energy Forum, and obviously all the participants that are here this afternoon. I would like to highlight that this is the second year that the ADB liaison officers from Suite 9 Constituency Office here in the Asian Development Bank for France, Italy, Portugal, Belgium, Spain, Switzerland, and now Israel are organizing this approach of bringing companies from our homeland to provide models of things that we believe are interesting for Asia, and we believe that there is room for these particular models, services, approaches, management, and so on and so forth. For this exciting session, we are going to continue with welcoming remarks by Ludivine Halbrecht. She is the Executive Director, the Executive Alternate Director of Constituency Office, representing France, Italy, Portugal, Belgium, Spain, Switzerland, and Israel. Ludivine, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me begin by thanking all of you for being here, for coming to Manila to participate in the Asia Clean Energy Forum 2025. We know too well that it can be a long and tiring journey. But your participation demonstrates the strong commitment and genuine interest of European companies in promoting clean and affordable energy in Asia and the Pacific. Your engagement is essential. It not only showcases our collective expertise, but also helps identify how we can contribute to addressing the region's most pressing challenges in the energy sector. According to the Asia-Pacific Climate Report 2024, Catalyzing Finance and Policy Solutions, with current policies in place, we are on track for around 3 degrees Celsius of warming by the end of this century. Developing Asia contributes to about half of global greenhouse gas emissions, yet is also among the most vulnerable, facing more extreme weather events, rising sea levels, health risks, and reduced productivity due to rising temperatures. The region urgently needs increased financing, not only for climate mitigation and adaptation, but also for modernizing power grids, boosting energy efficiency, reforming policies, and improving the financial sustainability and governance of utilities. ADB is stepping up in these areas. Thanks to internal reforms, the bank's lending capacity is expected to grow from $24 billion in 2024 to over $36 billion by 2034. The institution is on track to deliver $100 billion in climate finance to developing member countries between 2019 and 2030. The Corporate Results Framework 2025-2030 further reinforces this ambition, with a target for 50% of all financing, sovereign and non-sovereign, to support climate action. At COP29 in Baku last November, ADB and its MDB partners also announced a collective goal of $120 billion in climate finance by 2030. ADB is currently reviewing its energy policy and working toward the approval of a new direction paper on critical minerals to manufacturing for Powering Progress 2025-2029. We encourage the bank to go even further in its support for renewable energy and energy efficiency, and to ensure that mining and critical mineral value chains meet the highest environmental and labor standards. We also see room to strengthen the bank's procurement policy so that quality, sustainability, and value for money become central pillars of procurement decisions. With these changes, ADB will remain a key provider of financial, technical, and knowledge support to its members in both sovereign and non-sovereign operations across sectors such as clean energy, water and sanitation, irrigation, transport, and climate-resilient infrastructure. From 2009 to 2020, ADB energy sector financing exceeded $42 billion. The energy share in ADB's portfolio has been steadily growing, and now accounts for 18.6% of total operations. Energy is not only a major sector of ADB activity, it's also a powerful enabler of other priorities such as climate action, private capital mobilization, regional integration, and digital transformation. For European companies, this represents a wealth of opportunities. Yes, ADB procurement is complex, and competition, particularly from regional firms, is intense. But that's why gatherings like SF are so important. This is your chance to engage directly with ADB staff, meet DMC representatives, better understand the bank systems, and present the innovative solutions that you bring to the table. I'm confident that with your expertise and determination, you will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ludivine, for your warm welcoming remarks. I think it's interesting because very briefly she managed to frame the role of the ABB in general terms, then narrow it down to energy and also this activity and how interesting it is to use this week also for interacting with project officers responsible for projects here in the Asian Development Bank on the energy sector. Let's go ahead with our program for this afternoon, and I call to the floor Mr. James Kolantarach, who is going to be moderating the rest of the season. Thank you, James.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Suite 9 for inviting me to moderate this informative and innovative session. First of all, I saw the presentations of most of the presenters, so I feel pressurized to do a presentation. So that's how that's how I started preparing a presentation. So basically, as a principal energy specialist working for ADB, and as well as energy sector, I'm working in the energy sector for last couple of decades. I always, when I need something from the sector, I always look for the previous reforms or actions done by European counterparts. So what I learned was, basically the 4 Rs and 4 Ds, which they have achieved is, much faster than the other regions. The reforms, which always been the first one to implement the reforms, and the commitment for renewable energy, and also the innovation in renewable energy, which both are done by the European counterparts, and always give emphasis on resilience, and regional cooperation, because you are a well-connected grid, you have a well-connected and robust grid. And which also leads to democratization, which is transparency in the energy sector. Your regulatory services and everything is transparent, and which leads to decarbonization. As AED rightly mentioned earlier, not only looking at the power sector, but also looking at other cross sectors like transport, industry, agriculture, everything. And you also have decentralization, where you allow consumers become prosumers. So that's happening. And finally, digitalization, which is the core of all these processes. And I didn't mention the important thing, which is the innovation, which connects everything. So which is always led by many of these European firms. And I just I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these slides, but you can see that the global investment trends, we already moved from energy access and RE investment towards digitalization, integration, and equity in energy access. So which is the pathways we are following. On the right side, the investment and financing needs, which is just taken from International Energy Agency. The investment requirements are huge. I'm not going to touch the numbers. But the regional focus in Asia is going to be rapidly on smart grids and digitalization. And we also look into, most of the Asia, we also need to look into increase in demand, but also at the same time, affordability, because our per capita energy consumption is still low, and also interconnection. And ADB initiatives, as per the energy policy, we focuses more on power evacuation, strengthening of rural grids to ensure more increased access. And more or less, we are also looking into energy storage services and also emerging storage services such as pump storage as well. And distributed RE for productive use and cross-sectoral intervention supporting agriculture, transport, and also industries are all in the pipeline. And enhancing community involvement, which is mainly to create green skilling or green jobs, which is also a key parameter. And finally, the regional power trade, where these regions, SASEC, CAREC, BIMSTEC, all these regions can have a lot of potential for power trade. And where ADB, or we believe that renewable energy and digital solution have the potential for inclusive development. These are some of the things we believe: creating a resilient power sector together with predicting and balancing fluctuations is essential to ensure that our utilities adopt renewable energy, because they always find renewable energy as intermittent. So it's important to that. And smart maintenance to extend equipment lifetime, so that basically we don't invest unnecessarily. And helping communities to become smart prosumers is key. And finally, we also need to ensure real-time monitoring to continue. And the few examples where ADB is already doing some of the things I have listed down, I'm not going into details, but there are more things to come. So probably we may need to look into your technologies and solutions to adapt some of them. This is my last slide. And I'm promising that this session is going to be insightful and engaging. And I would request those audience who have any questions, please write down your questions, because we are going to do the entire presentation in one go. Then after that, we will ask questions at the last. So without not wasting much time, I would now request Mr. Xavier Pascal Lorente, Global Director for Consulting Services and New Technologies, Sensor Mobility, to do his presentation on AI-driven energy optimization using their Respira model. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Xavier.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for attending, and thank you for the invitation to share with you our developments and our solutions, digital solutions to improve energy efficiency in different sectors. Let me check. Sorry. Something is not working, or something I'm doing wrong. It's not working. Now it's working. Well, I will introduce you Respira, which is an artificial intelligence solutions developed by Saner. I don't, okay. Let's move. Well, first of all, I don't know if you know my company, Saner. Saner is an engineering consultancy firm, originally from Spain. We are a multidisciplinary engineering firm. We are covering different sectors: aerospace, energy, mobility, and also advanced facilities, data centers. It was founded in 1956 by two brothers. Right now we are in third generation. Our president is one of the son of the two founders, and our CEO is one of the grandsons. We have focused a lot always in innovation. Due to that, we have more than 80 patents worldwide. One of these is the one that I will show you today to you. We are more than 4,000 people in 20 countries around the world. Okay, so moving to Respira, I will ask my colleagues to turn on a video that I have.
Out. In. Out. In. Out. Now. Respira. Breathe. Saner introduces Respira, an innovative ventilation control system for public spaces that is based on artificial intelligence and provides optimum air quality, greater thermal comfort, a reduction in microorganisms, and maximum energy savings. Respira is an automatic ventilation system that acts according to algorithms that carry out analyses of the current and future state of different variables, including occupancy, humidity, air quality, temperature, and energy consumption. Maximum comfort with minimum expense, providing an increase in the equipment's life cycle thanks to its predictive maintenance and up to a 25% reduction in energy consumption. Respira has already proven its efficiency in one of the most daunting challenges possible, making more comfortable and controlled journeys for the travelers on the Barcelona Metro. Now we would like to do the same with the destinations. Welcome to a future in which the infrastructures breathe. Buildings that rely on energy sustainability, places that use technology to improve our day-to-day lives and well-being, to make sure we never stop meeting up with one another, enjoying and living. Respira. Now breathe.
Okay. Well, this is Respira. Okay, Respira, as you have seen in the video, is a digital solution based on artificial intelligence that acts on three main aspects: thermal comfort, air quality, and energy efficiency. And let me explain to you the history of Respira and how it was born. It was born in 2019, before COVID. Okay, due to the needs of Metro of Barcelona, Line 1. It's the oldest one, 100 years. They have a lot of problems regarding thermal comfort. So they asked us to do a detailed design to improve ventilation and HVAC. Okay, we did it, but also we test this solution to improve thermal comfort. Okay, then in 2020 we had COVID. Okay, then the main concern of Metro Barcelona was not thermal comfort, was air quality to detection of COVID in advance. So we modified the algorithms developed by Saner to take into account air quality. Then in 2022, we had the energy crisis in Europe due to the war in Ukraine. So we modified again the algorithm to take into account the energy efficiency and energy consumption to try to save money to the Metro of Barcelona. And right now we are doing the fourth evolution, okay, due to the needs of hospitals. Okay, in hospitals, one of the main concerns is to detect in advance any pathogen in the air, okay, any virus in the air. So we are working with an investigation center in Spain, CSIC, to try to detect Legionella, that is one of the main concerns in all the hospitals, in advance, using our algorithms. So in next month, it will be a fourth aspect regarding the virus and pathogens detection, early detection. So these algorithms that has been developed by Saner people are able to modify the patterns and how we act, I will explain to you later, the HVAC system to focus on one of these three main aspects. So For example, you will see later the results, but right now, Metro of Barcelona, we are achieving savings on energy consumption of close to 25% regarding the ones that they had before the COVID, okay? During COVID, there were less people going on the metro. You have seen on the screen, it was 12%. Right now that we are in more or less the same people using the metro that it was in 2019, we are saving 25% of energy in Metro of Barcelona, okay? So moving ahead, how it works, okay? Well, Respira is a virtual operator of the HVAC system, okay? In any building, like the ones that we have here, we have a BMS, a building model system, that controls the ventilation, okay? Or we have SCADAs in the metro, for example, okay? These systems has different configurations: summer, week, weekend, winter, okay? So there are 4, 5, 6, 8 modes, okay, during 1 year. What we are doing is changing the instructions in any moment that we need, okay? We know which is the target. The target is to achieve 1 temperature, thermal comfort, energy savings, according to the needs of the client. Then we mix all these needs into the algorithms, and the algorithms gives the instructions directly to the BMS or the SCADA. So we are able to modify the patterns of the BMS and the SCADA on real time, with the main purpose of achieving the goals that are marked by the client, okay? So we pass from, let's say, a static way to use the BMS or the SCADA to a dynamic way, based on artificial intelligence. So we are also learning how the system works and how the system behaves and how the people is changing, no? For example, this room, right now it's more or less half used, okay? Maybe in another session there will be less or there will be more, okay? But also in advance, we know how many people will come to the ADB. So, and the people will come, I don't know, tomorrow, for example, we are starting at 9 in the morning. People will arrive here at 8:30. Between 8:30 and 9, there will be, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people coming. 1,000 people coming, it's increasing rapidly the temperature inside, because human beings will increase temperature. If we know that in advance, we are able to define which is the temperature that we need at 8:30 when the people come. And also, taking into account IoT devices that we have on the system and the system behaviors, we can change that, okay? According to, for example, the people inside the room, okay? So we take into account, on one side, the operational parameters, occupancy, humidity, all of that. Also environmental conditions, inside and outside. If we have 1 week of rainy here in Manila, it will not have the same temperature outside that if we have sun, okay? So it changed the conditions outside the building, and the conditions outside the building affects inside the building. So we take into account also the weather forecast. Also, we take into account, for example, the scheme of the billing, of the cost of the energy to put on this algorithm matrix, okay? Also, the air quality, IoT devices, everything, it's taken into account into the algorithm. The algorithm has the target to achieve the goals marked by the client, and with this, we give the instructions on real time, every second, every 5 minutes, every 1 hour, whatever we want to achieve these goals, okay? So, going to this, what we need to use Respira, we need a BMS or a SCADA, okay? And we are absolutely agnostic on the brand, okay? We have worked with Schneider, Johnson Controls, Siemens, it doesn't matter, okay? For us, it doesn't matter. Also, we need a computerized management system, okay? That gives the instructions to all of that. Also, we can have energy management platforms like DESMA, okay? Or PV management. All of these are always with the clients, okay? What we do is to put Respira between all these systems, taking into account also the meteorological forecast, the electrical bills, the IoT devices. With all of these are the inputs for Respira to give the instructions through different protocols to the BMS and the SCADA, okay? So the Respira is not a BMS, it's not a SCADA, it's something that acts on the BMS and the SCADA, okay? So, and how it acts, okay? The concept is we act for operation, but also it is useful for maintenance. Why? Because as we have a continuous monitoring on the HVAC system, we are able to detect if one fan is not working properly, okay? And if this is not working properly, we can give an advice to our client, you have to act on that fan, for example, I'll say. And also on the investments, because we can do predictive maintenance on the assets. Why? Because we are detecting that something is not working properly, so we go there we act, and then it's not needed to stop, for example, the HVAC system during some hours to do a quick reparation because something has been broken, okay? So here you see the platform, okay? We integrate any projects. We configure your project. In which system? For example, in these systems, you will see later some examples, some of our clients has assets all over the world. They can manage all these assets from this single platform, okay? That it's in the cloud, it's cyber secure, it complies with all the regulation regarding that. But everything is integrated. So you can see, for example, you will see later, an hotel branch, how it's performing the different hotels. And if everybody is, I don't know, achieving 20% of savings and one is just 10%, something is wrong on that, on that hotel, for example, okay? So we are able to optimize the systems when we are taking care of different assets, okay? So, well, you see here, it's a very easy platform to be used, and it's for sure you can access to them to all over the world, okay? But here some success cases, because I have just 4 minutes and I want to highlight. You have seen Metro of Barcelona. Metro of Barcelona was our first project, okay? We started 2019, so we have 6 years operation. Right now you see here the figures, 25% of energy savings. We have reduced the indoor temperature more than 1 degree. We have increased the satisfaction of the customers 10% plus, okay? The performance of the funds has increased more than 20%, okay? And the energy consumption, here you see the figures, 6.2 gigawatts per hour less. What is transferred into euros to close to 2 million euros per year saving, applying this technology. And also we are reducing the CO2 emissions, okay? 1.6 ton of CO2 for year and Metro. Another success cases, airports with AENA. AENA is the public entity of airports in Spain. Okay, here you see, we are complying 100% with air quality, energy savings close to 24%. We are reducing the energy consumption and the CO2 emissions, okay? It has been working since 2022. More success cases that I have here, okay? Iberostar. Iberostar is a world brand for resorts, okay? We are achieving thermal comfort, according to the regulations, close to 90%. We have reduced the consumption 5%, okay? It's just 1 year working there. And the air condition, we are saving 20% of air condition consumption, okay? Applying that. Fira Barcelona. Fira Barcelona is one of the largest exhibition centers in Europe, okay? 240,000 square meters, okay? We are working there since 2023, okay? We are achieving the 100% of the indoor temperature goals marked by the client. Here we are the detection, okay, of any pathogens, also we are doing there. And energy savings here is 45%. It's one of the greatest success that we have right now, okay? Why? Because we are taking care. We know perfectly how many people will come in advance, because people is doing the check-in by phone in advance. So we know it's not the same, for example, Smart City World Congress or the Mobile World Congress. It's not the same the first day than the last day. So we know that, and also we have a very good historical data, okay? Based on that, we know that people goes to have lunch at 1 and they come back at 2. So during 1 and 2, we know that there are less people. So we modify maximum all the savings here. So here you are achieving 45%, okay? It's just two years working, okay? But these are the savings that we are having. Moving to hospitals, okay? Here, this is the R&D project that we are working that I was telling you before, in which we are detecting the pathogens in advance, Hospital de Henares for the Comunidad de Madrid. Okay, here you see, we are detecting 24% of the virus, okay, that were not detected before in advance, okay? This is a great saving. Also, energy saving, 23%, okay? So, good results, okay? 6 years of operation, very good results in terms of energy consumption, thermal comfort, all of that, okay? And I think that finally, the return on the investment, less than 1 or 2 years, it depends on the project for sure, okay? And we can act as different, the final solution is to Respira acting as a virtual operator, okay? we remove, let's say, humans for touching the BMS on the SCADA, and we directly give the instruction continuously to the BMS on the SCADA, and this is the maximum saving of this system. And I think that this is all, 18 seconds, so I have complied. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for the very interesting presentation, but at the same time, you kept it on time, including the video. So actually, he has, it's very fascinating to see that it's hygienic, it reduces energy, and at the same time, it increases the comfort. So it's important to note. But he mentioned that it requires data. So that data is more important. For our next speaker, actually, is going to speak about the data coming from the smart meters, how it is going to help AMI systems and as well as such solutions. May I request Mr. Christophe Nepers, International Networks EDF France, Director for Grids, APAC region. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the introduction. So my presentation today, sorry. Thank you very much. So my presentation today is about smart meters, and it's called The Pros and Cons of Embarking on a Smart Metering Program. So just a couple of words about my company, which is Électricité de France. It's a French utility, obviously present in France, but also in other countries, including in the Asia-Pacific region. So we have a smart metering program in France, which I will talk about, and try and give some feedback to the other utilities who may be interested in this, already embarking on them, or having some projects. So in EDF Group, we have a distribution company called Enedis. They have been applying a smart grid program called Linky. And in fact, the best word is advanced metering infrastructure, AMI. This is the word that we use. It's interesting because it really is an infrastructure. Just a few words about this program. First of all, it's in the framework of the French regulator, who insisted that the smart metering should not have any cost to the consumer. So the cost of this program is absorbed by EDF thanks to the savings done from the program, which we'll talk about. We installed 40 million smart meters in France. It took about 6 years, and it cost about 4 billion euros, which, as I said, it was not paid for by the consumer. So now that it's in place, well, we detect about 1,500 incidents per month on the grid, which is very interesting, very useful information for us. Because we have about 1.5 million kilometers of distribution lines, a lot of them are underground, in fact, and about half of them were invisible to us. So installing these smart meters is also a way of getting information from the grid, and it's like having it's like having 40 million sensors on the grid. What I would like to insist upon, which you can see on the bottom left-hand corner, is that smart metering is not just installing a few meters and having a software that uses them. It really is a big project. It should be looked at as a company project for the distributor if you really want to get the full benefit from it. So the Linky, you can see a picture of these smart meters. In fact, EDF does not make them. However, we did Sorry, there should be some other words in there, never mind. We did specify the smart meters, the functionalities and the configuration, and they are built by 6 different companies, but they're all identical. So this gives us supply chain, master of the supply chain, and mastery of the functions. So we didn't buy these smart meters off the shelf. So what I'd like to illustrate is advanced metering infrastructure program, smart metering. It's a bit like an iceberg. There's a part that we can see, which is above the water, and then there's a big part which we can't see, and it's all about data. And so diving a bit, before I dive more into that, I'd just like to point out that, yes, sorry, there are bits missing to the presentation, but anyway, we were awarded the first place for 3 years in a row for what's called the Smart Grid Index, which is based in Singapore, which evaluates different aspects of, let's say, the modern distribution grids. And there are 7 dimensions, and so Enedis, which you can see here, the first one is the subsidiary company of EDF, which operates the grid in France. Of the 7 criteria that were evaluated, 1 was data analysis, and we had a very strong score on this one. And surprisingly enough, not all of the distribution companies actually use data analysis, but it's thanks to smart metering that we can do this. So coming back to the iceberg of advanced metering infrastructure benefits, the part that we can see above the water, well, if you're the distribution company, you imagine to be able to do remote meter reading, perhaps prepayment, probably reduce your non-technical losses. These are the advantages which you can see. If you're the regulator, you probably hope that there will be development of new services and the consumers will become prosumers, in other words, proactive consumers. If you're the customer, well, you probably hope to be able to optimize your energy use thanks to more information, more data. But however, you may be worried about health aspects of smart meters, because people are sometimes worried about this, and privacy as well, because there's information coming from your house towards an external company. Yes, but when the sun comes out, some of these melt away. So if we look at, firstly, remote meter reading, it's true. However, this means that the company has to transform. All the people who went out to read the meters are now no longer necessary. And so there's an HR issue. You need more computer scientists and less people who do the meter reading. Prepayment is something you can do with smart meters, but you could do it before. You don't need smart meters to do prepayment. We've been doing that for a very long time. Non-technical losses, yeah, so there's less fraud. That's very true. But then because you don't send people out on the field, then you have less contact with your customer. From the regulator perspective, so development of new services and prosumers, yes, theoretically it happens, but in reality, does it happen that much? Not necessarily. Then from the consumer side, well, the ability to optimize their energy use, sure. If energy is a relatively small part of the electricity bill, there's not that much motivation to do it. Health concerns, well, in the case of the Linky program, the meter only emits for 2 seconds once a day. So the much less, let's say, should be much less concerned about that than, say, the Wi-Fi or the telephones or the stuff that we have. Similarly for privacy, I think, you know, same argument. Sorry. So then where are the real advantages? Well, data. So how can we use this data, and what are the treasures that it hides? And we need to be able to find the treasures, know where they are, how they can be used, unlock them. And if you're a distribution company, then you're asking yourself how to do this. So this is one thing in which EDF is open to contributing to other utilities around the world who would be envisaging these kind of programs, helping you to, let's say, find the hole in the ice, go down and detect where the treasures are and how to unlock them. So very quickly, some of the things which we've been able to do thanks to the smart metering program is use the call centers to do instant diagnoses thanks to the data that's coming. We can optimize electric vehicle charging. we can enforce or we can carry out demand response programs. That we have digital solutions to optimize the consumption and advise our clients. Really good one down at the bottom here is location of electrical faults. When you have 1.5 million kilometers of grid, it's a good thing when you have all these sensors. In fact, the meters are like sensors and they give us information in real time. We can detect anomalous situations, therefore do predictive maintenance, and so on. So all of these different advantages have been applied in France. I won't go through them all. They all correspond to some of the advantages that we've seen in the previous slide. So really the emphasis, and this is my last slide, the emphasis should be on that smart metering is not just, as I said before, it's not just IT or it's not just installing hardware. It should be a transformative program. It was the case for us. It involved a lot of changes, a company strategy, and involved all different parts of the company. So it's not just IT, but it's all the different parts of the company, and this is what you should consider. And this is how you can really get benefit from a smart grid program, by using the data, as I've been saying. So you will certainly need to restructure the way you work. This has implications in HR and training. You need to review your operational processes, which is very beneficial, but it's a lot of work, and you need to evolve the skills. And I think I've finished. Yes.
Thank you, Christophe. That's a very excellent presentation. I agree with you that deploying smart meters is important, but how to use the data is even more important. Otherwise, deploying smart meters doesn't make any sense. I will now move on to the next presentation, where we have two presenters, who will be doing the presentation. I will invite both of the presenters. First is Ms. Rocio Milagros Rena, a technical coordinator in sustainable projects, and also Mr. Emiliano Perodi, project consultant, both from RENA, Italy, to discuss on sustainable energy efficiency. Thank you. Over to you.
Okay. Okay, first, wait. Hello, okay. First of all, thank you all, in particular to Carlo Lei for the invitation and for being here and have this opportunity to talk about a specific case we bring from our company. Okay. So, we divided our presentation in these topics. So why RENA Consulting? We want to also present ourselves and what we have to bring. And in things, I should say that there is a question regarding the topic of today, that is the Energy for All European model of inclusive access. That is something that characterizes us. We will use the technical and international expertise and the experiences of Europe, but we also have a strong component of basing our solutions, paying particular attention to the local context, to the country context. And I think that this is something crucial, and we will try to go in diverse points through our presentation. So we will present the project, that is this particular case, the need, that it was the detected need in the project, but also the problem we find in the implementation. So the idea is also to be pragmatic regarding our introduction. Then the results of this case, the real barriers and opportunities we find, to end at the end with the replicability tips and the key takeaways.
Thank you, Rosie. I'd like to take a moment to introduce who we are and why RINA Consulting was selected to complete this assignment specifically. RINA brings together extensive international experiences from more than 70 countries, and what it does, it delivers technical assistance and engineering consulting services in complex environments. What makes the difference is the multidisciplinary teams, which allows us to manage projects that involve both technical insights and policy level engagement. The strength lies in adapting our methodologies to the specific needs of the different clients, connecting the local context, realities, and the international best practices and standards. This compatibility is essentially essential in transition economies where scalability and ownership are both critical factors. Rossio and I, for example, are working on project in Central Asia, the Western Balkans, East Europe, and also South America, right? And supporting green financing facilities, efficiency energy programs for SMEs, and industrial decarbonization roadmaps, and often in cooperation with the multilateral development banks. The scope of our works ranges usually from technical energy audits to capacity building and policy alignment and financing strategies that are all tailored to support countries in their path toward sustainable and inclusive energy transition. Our clients, our main clients that are displayed in this slide are the ones we regularly support through technical assistance and consulting work. And what we do with this client is to focus on green credit lines, industrial decarbonization, and energy efficiency programs. This experience helped us to become more familiar with a wide range of impact assessment methodologies, which we've integrated inside our internal approach. And we also participate into a European research project that foster innovation and help us grow new competencies internally. For example, Rossio is working on battery technologies that use recycled and natural graphite, while and also another project that works with chemical methods for plastic recovery, while I'm focused on scalability and replicability of smart grid solutions using smart grid architecture models as a reference. And this mix of project work and innovation is helping us to respond to different clients' needs, practical and creating flexible solutions.
Okay, now we introduce this project that was implemented from 2021 in Kazakhstan. And the objective was to target key energy intensive regions. That was, in the screen we can see the main sectors: cement and clinker production, metallurgy and related industries, transport and manufacturing, food industry, and chemical production. Basically, what in that moment Kazakhstan saw and the organization that found also this project detected, it was, okay, we need to understand what are the real barriers and how we can make up first an initial path to make the scalability to the rest of the sector inside, obviously, each industry. So in this case, the need was, okay, make an assessment to identify energy saving measures and decarbonization opportunities. This was specialized it, and we were making different tasks. The first one was for a dedicated questionnaire that we adapted to each industry. We could collect the main inputs of information that after, with the audit, with the site visit, we could confirm and get in detail more information about each process. In these terms, we detect how were the practices to try to enhance the industrial efficiency and identify the technologies with that technology readiness level +7 in these sectors. The second phase of this project was to build capacity for these stakeholders and also help them to use new cloud-based softwares. At the end, we get a particular moment for a sectoral analysis of investment that Emiliano will talk more in detail about this. And in the last, let's say, phase of the closure session, we have the opportunity to also make this evaluation about the real barriers. That it's what we are sharing.
The problem, I would say, from an economic perspective, economic and financial perspective, there are several weaknesses in that make investment in this kind of industries less attractive. First of all, the cost of capital of decarbonization technologies is still very high, and if we compare it with the cost of energy in the country, this makes investment really unfavorable in this field. The second is that borrowing conditions are difficult because local interest rate range from 15 to 18%, and financing becomes a big major barrier in this case, because it cancels the benefit of investing. And these weaknesses are compounded by other threats to long-term viability. For example, many investments opportunity depend on foreign financing, which brings a high exchange rate risk, especially when the loans are issued in dollars, but then the revenues are in local currency. Moreover, renewable energy options remain uncompetitive in the short term because there's an absence of strong government incentives in this field, and there is no stable policy framework to de-risk these kind of investments. All these elements point to a clear message that technical potential alone is not enough without enabling financial conditions and targeted policy support. Many promising solutions remain out of reach for the private sector.
Okay, so we have the strengths and opportunities. There is several potentials inside the industrial sector. The local capacity building through the audits detected, it was also one of the outputs that we didn't expect in at the beginning. And it was a growing awareness at that moment that now it was reinforced by the government and also locally. One of the opportunities is also that they start to search intensively more government subsidies to try to motivate companies to start this path through decarbonization, and also the potentiality of the competitiveness about incorporating these technologies. But what was the thing? Okay, these barriers can be opportunities, how we turn this, how we switch this, and these strengths can develop resilience. So
so basically, here's the tips that we identified from all these barriers. First of all, to make this kind of investments replicable and more easily accessible, it is recommended to use a cloud-based audit tool to leverage international and local consortium and to incorporate competence centers for continuous knowledge transfer and to simulate financial impact with shadow carbon initiatives.
Okay, one of the, let's say, strong points was the commitment of government, but it was a lack of the, let's say, involvement in a multi-level step. So in some levels for companies, it was difficult to have clear how to going forward on this path regarding also the legislation and also a real framework for the applicability of the new frameworks, let's say. There are regulatory gaps, so it was really difficult to afford in one industry more than other, but it was like an asymmetry between these. There were also a lack of technical skills, really. So the need of capacity building and awareness, it was something that we detected it could have a short and medium term positive result in regarding this project, and also the underscoring need for systemic policy support and a perspective of thinking about long-term capacity. So about the conclusions, this approach is useful in the sense that we could detect barriers that can be also reachable and easy to find in other countries in the region. And the important thing in this case is to understand that the investment the investment grade opportunities that we detected have a lot of potential regarding energy savings and also to be able to easily be adapted to the particular industrial process of these early adopters. But the main challenges could be solvable in terms of cooperation, and it's a potential scalable framework for energy audits in the heavy industry. So the path, it was there, it was easy to find it. If you want, maybe in the session of questions, you can have more information, and also we can speak a little bit of the particular technologies inside each industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosia and Emiliano, for the wonderful presentation. Basically, I also understand your feelings but you also acknowledge the difficulties you face in doing energy efficiency project, which is most appreciated actually. So that's very important for everybody to know. With this, probably I will invite our last speaker, Mr. Frederick Rage from Turbulent NV Belgium. And it is going to be an interesting presentation, though it is not related to energy efficiency or other things, but it is going to be a very interesting presentation considering the environmental and social requirements in developing large hydros, how this can be addressed in small or very small pico hydros. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction. Turbulent is a company coming from Belgium, and we are located in Leuven. Founded in 2015, and we had an idea. All over the world, more than 700 million people have not access to reliable energy. The most common way was we will try it out with diesel-fueled generators. Okay, it worked. Is it eco-friendly? Not at all. Is it costly? The more and more. We have a solution for it. The technology we use is a low-head hydropower system. It's a turbine, it's a technology based on nature. We use gravity and we use the water of an existing river. It's decentralized. We don't use big dams and we don't like them neither. Our solution, completely based and designed and produced in Belgium, is low head, as I come to say. We start up with 1.5 meters of head, and we only need 1.5 meters a second of water. It can be placed on grid, it can be placed off grid, or both of them. We can work as it's based on hydro, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. As I say, designed and made in Belgium by us. It's produced almost in Leuven, very close to our factory, completely made in stainless. The cabinets are tested and produced in our workshops as well. It's installed always on site by the local partners. We don't send out our own people. We always work with the locals. Like you see on the picture here, it's a project we have done in Kenya. We work with more than 100 people over there. We make them and create employment as well. Who does it? The people you see. At this moment, 15 people in Leuven, more than 100 people in the workshop. How does our technology work? As I come to say, we take the water. By using a bypass, we don't install it into the rivers. We use the water, we drop them down throughout our turbine, and we give back the water to the river. That generates electricity. We have 4, 5 types of turbines, starting at 15 kilowatt up to 100 kilowatt. At the end, it's scalable, modular. We can place them parallel or in series up to a few megawatts if needed. A little bit into technical detail, kindly to see, but if it's needed, ask me some questions afterwards. Where are we on the scale of hydro? As we say, are we a competition to the big ones? No, not at all. We are not like a Francis turbine. We are not like a Kaplan turbine. When there is a use of them, please be free to do it. We go low head. It means starting up at 1.5 meters of head and with low water. That's where we are. You see on the graphics, turbulent is really on the bottom of it. But it has a use because all those big dams are placed on very central places. You need long lines, very much kilometers of grid lines. We don't need it. We produce locally and on demand of what is useful. If there's a community that needs today 100 kilowatt, we will install 100 kilowatt. If the economy is growing over there, okay, fine, let's install a second one a year later. Our advantages. So the technology, as I come to say, is cost efficient. We start at the levelized cost of energy, in this case in the Philippines, at 2.5 pesos a kilowatt hour. So it's economically viable. Payback time, 4 to 6 years. We are fish friendly, tested in the UK on several kinds of pieces. What is the difference with other hydro? Our trash rack has openings of 10 centimeters. What means every trash, whatever it is, I don't call a fish a trash, but even as a fish smaller than 10 centimeters, he will pass the turbine without being hurt. As I come to say, levelized cost of energy is 2.5 pesos a kilowatt hour. And this is a nice one. When you need solar, very popular over the world and a good technology, you need one soccer field of solar panels to have one turbine of ours, the same capacity of 70 kilowatt. This is the impact on the area. One soccer field instead of a third piece of the goal. Maintenance costs, very low. So you start at the beginning with the installation. 1 time a year, you need to change the oil of the gearbox itself. It's like changing the car oil. 3 hours a day, 3 hours, 2 people, 1 time a year. That's it. Some projects we already have done. We had a nice one in Taiwan. We are installing in Kenya, already producing. We are now having one in progress here in the Philippines, in Pangasinan. We have a project running in Davao, some all over the world. Case studies, feel free afterwards to ask for it. You see on the right how the way we work. This is the impact on the environment. A small basin, using gravity, we push through the water, make it spin, and you have electricity. Nothing more, nothing less. A turbine case in Portugal, in the Azores, that was at the tail race of an existing Francis turbine. Francis turbine does what it has to do, but at the end, there are still more than 200 kilowatts of energy that we could take out of the existing tail race and water. Small hydro, as I come to say, this is a 15 kilowatt installation, but for small municipalities all over the Philippines, all over Asia, it's more than enough to make some people happy. What do? We use the water, as I come to say. We push it through 8 turbines. In this case, it is 8 turbines of 90 kilowatts placed in parallel. We push the water back into the tail race and we give it back to the river. Nobody is harmed, no fish, no environmental impact. This is a case of 800 kilowatts built on 240 square meters. This is an existing dam that we use, and here you see we only give back the water, we use it, and it's done. Where are we? All over the world. A little bit too much. So we changed. As we are not with enough people in our offices, we have some focuses. We are focusing now on Southeast Asia, pieces of Africa, and Canada. So all you see here are test cases, really running, smooth running, but as I say, if we can grow, we can manage to help more people over the world. At this moment, the focus is on Southeast Asia. Recognized globally, last year we won at the World Economic Forum World Impact Award. Very proud of it. We are supported by the universities in Belgium. We are supported by the European Union. We are supported very much by the Belgian government. Where we work on, we can discuss it later, on 9 SDGs. Most important thing, are we economically? Yes. Are we social? We help employment all over the world with local help. Are we environmental? Yes, very much. 1 turbine of ours can reduce more than 1,000 tons on CO2 emission a year. That's what you came to see here. Okay, a little bit exaggerated, but anyway, how you see the point. This is the scope when you enter with us. And I want to say thank you very much.
I would like to thank Frederick for the excellent presentation. With this, probably I will invite all the presenters to come to the stage so that if there are any questions from the audience, they can ask. Please. Xavier, Christophe, Rocio, Emiliano, please. Okay, thanks. So I would leave the floor to the audience first. If they have any questions, probably we will ask them. Probably when the questions are raised, please introduce yourself, and after that, please raise your question. And also, if you can identify who is the presenter, it will be great. Thank you.
I'm Arvind Bulbule from India, Maharashtra State, Electricity Distribution Company, MSCB. Just in last presentation, it was small hydro generations. What is the cost of 90 kilowatt generation? Approximate entity cost per kW or 90 kW?
That's
Insta-
depending on the situation. The turbine itself, it
Normal
has,
average cost.
sorry,
Normal average cost, how much? Range, in this range one, that much.
when you start up with a 15 kilowatt, it has a cost of approximately 100,000 euros and goes up to 220,000 euros for a 100 kilowatt turbine.
And after installation, maintenance and what everything is duration time period from your side.
So that's what I came to explain. One times a year you have to change the oil. It takes 3 hours with 2 people. That's the maintenance cost.
No.
That's it.
Costing 1 year warranty period, 5-year warranty, or nothing, whatever.
No, the warranty is 5 years. Warranty
years.
is 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bulbule. Probably, if there are any other questions, anyone? So if not, probably I'll be the one asking the questions. Probably I'll go to Respira once. Basically to understand understand about Respira system. So it's an AI system which helps to reduce efficiency, improve the quality, and this one probably I would like to understand from the perspective where we are working. Most of the DMCs, like South Asia, Southeast Asian, Pacific countries, would like to understand whether it is modular, and probably what are the other basic features. Basically, most of the region don't have sophisticated tools to adapt to Respira, probably. I don't know. So you do have some sense on basic infrastructure needs so that Respira can operate, So, and how modular Respira is.
Well, sure, yeah. The only thing that you need to apply Respira is to have a BMS or a SCADA. And I think that all over the world, the big buildings, they have BMS or SCADA. Any metro system has a SCADA. Any hospital has a BMS or a SCADA to control the HVAC system. So this is the only thing that we need, okay? If there is not, okay, we can support our client on the implementation of a BMS or a SCADA, okay? A building like the one that we are here, you have for sure a BMS or a SCADA to control the HVAC system. So what we do, we connect to this remotely, okay? Because it's very easy. The only thing that we need is to have a connection with a protocol. It could be Magnet, Modnus, whatever. Okay, it depends on the brand of the BMS or the SCADA. And then instead of having a static mode of winter, summer, week, or weekend, we pass to a dynamic mode in which we are giving instructions any minute, any second, any whatever. Okay, it's the only thing. So this is as easy as this. The implementation period, it depends on the asset. Okay, it's not the same, for example, doing in a metro system like the one in Barcelona with 12 lines and a lot of kilometers of tunnels and stations that doing in a building. Okay, but more or less as an average, we are talking about 1 month to 3 or to 4 month maximum, 4 month maximum. And once it is implemented, immediately we start savings. And as it is based on artificial intelligence, the algorithm learns about the systems. And the first month, we are not achieving these magnitudes that I have said, 25, 30, 35% of energy savings. But this is a very long curve. And this is why we have a return on the investment on 1 year, maximum 2 years. Okay, so the investment is very low according to the benefits that you receive in terms of energy savings. Okay, but it's not just energy savings, because if you are talking about a hospital, for example, the main concern is not saving energy, it's air quality, because you have people that is sick and you have to take into account air quality. Okay, in some other assets, the main aspects is thermal comfort. It could be an exhibition center. Okay, so depending on the main focus of our client, we can achieve these goals as quick as we can. Okay, but this is very quick of the implementation and very easy. And I think it's nothing to do about if we are in Southeast Asia or we are in Europe or we are in America, okay? Because what we need is all over the world, okay?
Thank you for the clear explanation. So, hope there is an opportunity here to improve our quality of air.
Well, in fact, it was also presented on the World Bank event in Transforming Transportation in Washington this year in March, and we are currently in discussions with the World Bank to apply this in their headquarters in Washington. Okay, so we will be happy that the ADB goes before the World Bank. So I'm here. So if we have any discussions with the ADB to apply it here, it will be very nice for us. Okay.
Thank you.
And a good excuse for me to coming back.
Okay. So I still offer any more questions from the audience if there are any. Okay, please. Tarendu.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My question goes for the ADF gentleman, and thanks for the nice presentation about the smart meters. Actually, the capital cost would be really impressive, which is around 100 euros per smart meter. So hopefully, if it is with a 5 years of lifetime, just 20 euros per year. How about the O&M and what would be the business cases and business models of implementing these smart meters in France? Like, is it a smart meter as a service, or all the meters are owned by you and maintain it, or how it offers the business model and how it quantify the services to the consumer? Like, let's say, what would be the return on investment and sort of any O&M based financial figures, if you have any offhand?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the question. So the cost of the 40 million smart meters was about 6 billion euros. Sorry, about 4 billion euros. But this includes not just the hardware or the software. It includes the implementation, the installation, all the things that go around it. So yeah, we estimated that the O&M cost and the CapEx and OpEx were absorbed in a few years. I'm not sure exactly how many years. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact answer to that. But then your question about ownership. So all of the smart meters in France are owned by EDF or EDF subsidiary entities. But they're made available to all the retailers. So there is an open market on the retail side to customers. So they're owned by us, but they're available for all the retailers to use. So some of them may be using them in different ways as well. However, the main advantage to us, I mean, in terms of return on investment, coming back to that question, is actually the maintenance and being able to have such a good vision of the grid 24 hours a day is very, very valuable. Yeah.
Thanks, Christophe. For your information, the gentleman is from Lanka Electricity Company in Sri Lanka, and they manufacture their own smart meters. so just to give, of course, they're a small company, but they just wanted to give a perspective why the question has raised. Anyone else want to ask any questions? So before I have a question for Rocio and Emiliano. Basically, as I earlier mentioned, normally we call industrial decarbonization or energy efficiency as hard to abate sectors, or it's very difficult to do. So, and you have done extensive assessment and analysis. Basically, so do you have a model? Basically that this is the way you need to follow. That you can do it, and do what ADB or World Bank or multilaterals or government need to do, because whenever policies come, it never comes as energy sector policies. Most of the policies are for the power sector, if we look at the policies. So it makes it even harder for other sectors to get decarbonized. So what's your perspective from regulatory policy perspective, and also for multilateral banks? What should you suggest for this sector to get more and more traction? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Just to add something to introduce the answer to your question. Also, as part of the project, we detected in the technologies and we make the investment plan. So we calculate also the return of investment, how the company also will be more ready to prepare to include this, and also a path to doing through the years that each company inside the industry say to us, and also try to see the feasible way. And in this, we find the problem, let's say. I mean, for one side, we saw that there are other international organizations that regarding, I mean, because for one side they get, I mean, Emiliano, help me a little bit, but it's difficult because the conversion rate of the investment and when they ask the loan makes everything difficult for economies that are not stable. I mean, I come from Argentina. I know what is an economy that is not stable. So it was not difficult to detect the technology. Or also, the difficult part is not to include the technology, because they already knew how to ameliorate the process in terms of energy efficiency, but also in terms of competitiveness. And the nice thing is that also was that we gave them the chance to compare their industrial process currently in that moment and with the technologies that should be adopted regarding the benchmarking of European levels. Now we also do the benchmarking in a local way and also in the European way, so they can also try to see the impact that they could have inside the industry if they implement this, let's say, investments in technology. Emiliano, I don't know if you can show a little bit more about the experiences we live and we find that are like success case for this with other donors.
So I would say that, of course, I agree with Rocio. She highlighted that in Kazakhstan, we managed to find the right set of factors to decarbonize the industries, and this is the actual point. We found factors of the specific country. So the topic here is customization. In order to decarbonize industries of a specific country, we need to find a specific factor for that country. So I would say generally it's important to have a mixture of the local context and international standards, and it is important to introduce innovation and new technologies. As we talked about before, in this case, in the Kazakhstan case, the technology readiness level should be 5 or above, and we need to make sure that locally it is possible to adopt those technologies. Furthermore, the last part of your question was what can international financial institutions such as ADB do to help decarbonization? I would say that international financial institutions have the power to influence the introduction of frameworks that include the innovation and technology. They include the financial availability and also let's call it the policy framework.
Thank you, Rocio and Frederick. Basically, I agree with you that basically the difficulty comes with the customization, because you don't have a one-fit solution for each and every every sector, or even the size differs. So basically it's always challenging for energy efficiency. So, and the next question is, I would like to go back to Frederick. Basically, I think probably Southeast Asia probably might be your priority now, but you have a lot of opportunities in South Asia, especially where rural grids are no longer financially or economically viable, and where streams are available. So I don't know whether this technology, can be how this can be adopted for South Asia or similar economies where the rural grids probably for electrifying 1,000 families take millions of dollars. So it's better to have a grid where the water stream is available. But the only question I think the gentleman also asked, and you also responded, that the maintenance cost is very low. So, but how effective it would be, and for the community to take part in developing these.
That's part of our DNA. So we are basically, that's what we had up at the start. But as we saw all over the years, if you want to maintain your company as well, you need to start over to look for bigger projects to make it economically viable and to get some bigger investments. But basics of our technology is really that kind of matters, to give electricity to the rural areas, to the rural islands. Last week, I was at the Bright Island encounter of PNOC, and there we already have been contacted by a few islands to get on with it. In the municipality of Alegria, we will start up, hopefully in 4 or 5 months, with a local project of 2 turbines, and that's more than enough to have electricity for the municipality. Of course, that price, that levelized cost is higher because of it's a small project. But at the end, it's cheaper than the diesel they use at the moment, and it's reliable. The base load is continuous, and the energy where it comes from, the water that is flowing, is all over the islands, all over the Philippines. So yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Frederick. Probably my last question goes to the smart meters, EDF. Basically, you mentioned that, basically, smart meters works well when the consumers use more, on other uses, not just on electricity. Probably they may be using electric vehicles. And what made France moving towards consumer education? What has done well to ensure the consumer become prosumers? So that should have been made. The smart metering progressed well in those countries. So what is your advice for our DMCs and the areas we should target on? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think the education, educational behavioral recommendations, advice to consumers is always useful. But I think a lot of countries do that already. And really, I think the best advice we can give is for the countries and the regulators and the distribution companies to really consider smart metering as tools that can bring a lot of benefits, but only if you can use the data, as I've been saying. And we are often questioned about smart meters by various countries around the world when it's already too late, in the sense that the smart meter program already has a budget and it's basically calculated on the cost of each smart meter. But in fact, it's much more, it should go much deeper than that, and from the beginning should be a transformative adventure, let's say, for the company. I think that's the best advice we can have.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So if there are any more questions from the audience, if no, probably I will ask any last remarks from any of you, or from each of you, saying that probably I may ask, what is your biggest barrier? You feel it's regulatory, policy, or financing? I don't need all the 3, just one.
Okay, so you didn't say technical, which is interesting. I think that's true. So the answer is okay. It's non-technical barriers.
Yes.
Well, in my case, the principal barrier that we see is the, let's say, belief, in the artificial intelligence as a technology that can help us to improve our lives. So this is the principal barrier, to believe that technology can help us, okay? In this case, to save energy or to improve air quality, and that maybe artificial intelligence for these particular cases is better than human. intelligence. So this is the principle we're here, to believe in technology, in our case. Thank you.
The bottleneck we have is for sure permitting. On paper, it looks quite easy, and on paper, it's quite straight. But in real, we have to battle almost every day to get it done.
Thanks for the very frank feedback. What about Rocio and Emiliano?
Well, it's really difficult because the policy and the financial aspects are interconnected. Let's say there is an interdependence between them. But I will say that at the end, if there is the political also choice to going forward with the decarbonization and the green agenda, not only for saying things, but also going to the pragmatical things, the financial arrives. So I think that one of the key points that we try to show you today, and I want to leave you with this, it's we, particularly from RINA, we personalize regarding our customers, but also the beneficiaries that are the heart of the implementation of these solutions that are really complex and really varied, multidisciplinary. But in this, we find it working with diverse donors, international. So we have like diverse methodologies to measure the impact of the project. And then we still seeing different patterns on this. So I think that one potential answer to your question is that there is availability of funding. There is people that detected the need and say, okay, this, but to reach from, to be attracted to get the funding and to get also all the requirements to get the funding, this gap can be, let's say, easy to overcome if you have also policies and government that intervenes to help you in the context that you are inserted in your country, in your region, to go in that direction.
Thank you, Rocio. That's very enabling environment for assessing financing, right? Basically, and also setting up regulatory and policy frameworks to access the enabling financing. Thank you. So with this, I think they deserve a applause here. So I would like to thank everyone flying all the way from Spain, France, Italy, and Belgium to do these presentations. And I would like to thank on behalf of ADB and also the Asia Clean Energy Forum Secretariat for attending this session and presenting. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I would like to finally request Mr. Patrick Rens, Director's Advisor, Constituency Office for Belgium, France, Israel, Italy, Portugal, Spain, and Switzerland, ADB Asian Development Bank, to do the closing remarks on behalf of ADB. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, colleagues and friends. This session carries special meaning for me because about 9 years ago in 2016, I worked in the East Asia division of ADB as an energy specialist, and I organized a workshop at the Asia Clean Energy Forum, so it's actually nice to be back. I really would like to thank you all for joining this pre-forum session on European models of inclusive access. Today's discussion has been rich with insights, European innovation, and practical examples, showing us that in the inclusive access and clean energy space, there are solutions. And the goal, therefore, is not just a vision. It's actually an achievable reality when technology, policy, and partnerships do align. We heard about easily integratable digital solutions leveraging AI for air quality, temperature control, energy savings, predictive maintenance, and pathogen detection, about smart meters that pay for themselves through savings and create an iceberg of data-driven benefits from electrical fault detection to optimized EV charging. We heard about scaling industrial energy efficiency and decarbonization with early adopters despite challenging financial conditions on the ground. And we heard about scalable and modular, smaller hydro innovation, big innovation, smaller hydro, with a small footprint and sustainability really at the heart of the entire operations. Again, what I see are innovations that are concrete and scalable solutions aligned with what the broader goal of ADB's energy access policy is, and also our energy policy and also our climate targets. The challenge now is to partner up during the forum, to localize and customize, as we have heard from the speakers, to overcome barriers, something that we have heard as well, and to scale and finance these solutions across the Asia and the Pacific. Today would not have been possible without our organizing team. So I would extend a special thanks to the liaison officers of Belgium, France, Italy, and Spain. And I also would like to thank James for leading us through the afternoon today. And I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the speakers. For me, this was extremely interesting. I have heard for many things for the first time. And I really appreciated how you could see that innovation in Europe that people usually would not expect, that leverages new technologies, that brings forward digital and artificial intelligence and all those fancy buzzwords in a way that works on the ground. So thank you again to everyone involved. I look forward to seeing many of you during the following days, and I wish you a successful Asia Clean Energy Forum. Thank you.